Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, and I am thrilled beyond thrilled to have my friend Cindy Sisson on as my guest today. I met Cindy about 3 or 4 years ago through someone that told me I should meet her, and boy, were they right. And so she and I become friends, and we support each other, which is what women do in motorsports. So Cindy, welcome to the show. And would you first start by just telling us a little bit about yourself for those few people who maybe don't know who you are?
Oh, thank you, Melinda. It's an honor to be with you. And I'm really, really proud of what you've done and your incredible loyalty to advocating for women in motorsports. I look forward to your podcast all the time. I'm very pleased that I'm working with Women in Motorsports North America. I've had a storied career. It would take us 2 hours, maybe 2 days to talk about my career. But in short, I've always been an advocate for all women in all sports, or women in business in general. You may or may not know, in 1990, I was the director of the Ladies Professional Golf Association. And back then, in 1991, they had the same challenges we have in motorsports as not being recognized or appreciated. A lot of women were suing in the golf industry for equality. And I raised my hand and I created a summit, go figure. Mm-hmm. And I had a blessing to work with Lynn St. James, who was at the time the president of the Women's Sports Foundation. And we sold out our first summit there, and it carried on for another 3 generations. And we still here today. It really changed the way the golf industry marketed to women.
Yeah. So, it's the challenge. The women, it's every sport you look at, soccer, volleyball, everything you look at, we're always a little bit behind.
Well, we're not behind. They're behind.
They're behind.
Yeah, they're behind.
You're right.
I mean, we've always been here, and we're, there's so much research that points out that women are loyal and on and on and on. And unfortunately, a lot of the decision-making processes in corporate America are still men, and we love our men. We love them as our lives. We couldn't do without them. But I think the movement that we're creating and the changes that I've personally seen over the last 3-4 years since we started Women in Motorsports and the Women with Drive Summit it's incredible. Yeah. And I feel very welcomed. We should all feel welcome, but we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, that's true. So let's tell everybody about Women with Drive, the Women with Drive Summit, how it came about. And, let's talk a little bit about that and then more about moving forward. What's happening in 2025? Because it's so exciting.
It really is. The short story is 4 years ago, I got a call from Matt Cruz, who is the founder of the Music City Grand Prix. And this is right at the end of COVID. It said, Cindy, you're so well known in doing things for women in sports. Think of something really big. And at the time, Melinda, just like you, I was doing virtuals and podcasts because it was the end of COVID. I had an events company, end of COVID. You can't do too many events. Oh. So I created a podcast or virtual actually, where I married country music singers with race car drivers leading up to the Music City Grand Prix. And we discovered this honky tonk bar where we could host our first summit. And lo and behold, we sold out and had 110 people there. And Lynn and I looked at each other, and Tina Budd, who was our show producer for all of the summits, In fact, Tina worked with me at the LPGA back in 1991 when we did the first summit. So we said, we might be onto something here.
Uh-huh.
And that's the same year that Beth Peretta was racing her all women's team, and Lynn was there and on the grid and had a moment of, oh, finally, I don't feel alone. And the two of them collaborated. And really, that was the genesis of Women in Motorsports North America. So I had the first summit, put it on my own credit card, and decided I can't keep doing that. So I gifted it to WMNA. And it is now owned and operated by WMNA, but operated by Tina Budd and Cindy Sisson, and Lindsay James as our co-producer. So that's the genesis of Women with Drive, and a little bit of the genesis of WMNA. But to add to that, for WMNA to get started, where do we go? Where do we start? So Lynn and Beth put together about 40, 50 people. And it took about 6 months of back and forth meetings, creating a mission statement, how we're going to do this. And a lot of people think we've been around a long time. We weren't incorporated until April of 2022. Mm-hmm. So April this year will be 3 years for WMNA. And we're knocking it out of the park. The word I hear all the time is you're omnipresent, you're everywhere. And last 2 years, I believe, Melinda, we're building the brand, if you will, and the presence. But now we really need to get to work. And in my heart, I believe we're at the point where not necessarily being at events all the time, but really focusing on, you'll hear it here first, creating WMNA chapters. So we have 5 to 6 chapters in markets like Charlotte, Indianapolis, Detroit, Monterey in Southern California, and potentially Kansas City. Those will be our early adopter markets. And we'll have a whole launch strategy on that. And then the second, as I asked you at the beginning of this call, we're also looking at creating a membership program. Uh-huh. So WMNA is solely funded on the summit for the most part. And we've got to think of alternative ways to further our reach, to create more scholarships and opportunities to advance women in motorsports.
Yeah, I tell you, I was at the first one in Nashville, and I didn't know anybody. I had talked to you, but I met so many amazing women there. And just, I was starstruck, to be honest, because it's like, oh, I've heard of her. I've heard of her. But I actually got to sit and have lunch with them, and it was so amazing. And honestly, to get there we had the worst travel experience, my husband and I. Our flight got canceled out of Grand Rapids. It was terrible. He said, we're getting in the car, you're getting there. And he drove me. So, and then I've been at every one except the Phoenix one. I had some issues and I couldn't get there, but I'll never miss another one, because you come home so rejuvenized and with so many people that you've met, and you just are amazed, Cindy, by the stories. And that, me, I love the stories, but the stories of the women and the girls who are so passionate about racing. And then you sit at the seminars were outstanding, and it was so hard to choose which ones you're going to go to. And so, I just can't tell you how much it rejuvenated me to come back home, because I had a rough year last year as far as some health stuff, and I wasn't able to do what I had hoped to do. And I came home from that summit and I said, this is what I'm going to do in 2025. And so being there around all those other women and some men, you're right, we love the men, we can't do without them, but we are supporting the women in an area where they need support. And I'm just telling you, as soon as I can pay my money to come in December, I'll pay it, because I'm ready to go.
Oh, thank you. It's funny, Melinda, because I remember you at Charlotte, and there's a picture I have. It was a bucket, and you had candy and a little Barbie doll in there. And I see that on my computer a lot, and it just reminds me of you. And when you couldn't make it to Phoenix, it was like, oh, that's not good if Melinda can't be there, because you are somebody I look forward to seeing. And you're just such a champion of the cause, and we love having you there, Melinda.
I appreciate that. So 2025, I know December sounds a long way away. We just had a December, but it's when you're doing what you're doing, it's going to get here fast. So what are the things, you've got these chapters that you're looking at, which I love. Detroit's only a couple hours away. You have the membership idea, which I think is fabulous.
Thank you.
So what takes up your day? And what keeps you coming back? Because this is not easy. Why are you doing this?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. I'm doing it because it's people like do you never sleep? You're always working so hard. And I tell people it's not work when it's something you love.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's funny. I feel really bad. I'm in Miami right now, and I was flying down here, and I pride myself in keeping my inbox clean. And, around Christmas time, I had almost 3,000 emails. And my goal was to get down to 300. And a lot of that was around the summit of just so much coming at me. And I found 2 or 3 emails that I missed, and I was mortified. What I love about it is just, I get so many people saying, I hate to, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but you're changing my life, or you're giving me an opportunity, or you're making a difference in so many people's lives. And, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to be this year. Let's just say I'm getting really close to Medicare. And I have a son. He's just turned 24 a couple days ago. And really, it's all I have in my life. This is what I do. I just love everything about it. I love the people I meet. I love, our board of directors is incredible. And I'm just really blessed to do what I do.
Well, and it's definitely the friendships that you make. And I always tell people, if for some reason motorsports went away tomorrow, I'd still be friends with Cindy Sisson. I'd still be friends with all these women that I've met and talked to. And that, to me, you just can't replace that. And when I saw you in Indy, it was cold and we were running across the street, but we were so excited to actually see each other. And that's why you keep doing it, is for that. I just absolutely love that part of it for myself. I just turned 69 in December.
You look fabulous, darling.
Well, thank you for that. I feel much better. I've lost weight, and I got rejuvenated. I got excited. And when people say you changed my life, I get it. Don't be shy about telling people that, because women want to be a part of that. They want that. So if they know that you're doing things that have changed lives, they want to be a part of it. So you need to tell people about that.
Well, it makes my day.
Yeah. So 2025, we're going to be in Indy.
Yep.
Right before PRI.
Yeah. December 9th and 10th. Yeah. It'll be a little bit different format this year. We're still working on it logistically, but you asked the question, can you add more people? And we were sold out, 620. We could have put one more table in there. So we're anticipating, I put it into the universe last week at the press announcement, that I want 750 to be there. Okay. And it was cute. At the press conference was Holly Kane.
Uh-huh.
She's a NASCAR rider, and she couldn't make it this year. And it's like you not being there, not having Holly Kane be there is just unheard of. So you get the goodie bag. So I brought one to Daytona, and I said, Holly, it's 749 plus you, and here's one of the goodie bags. And that's that. If we get 750, and I think we could get to 900.
I think you could, because I was telling you before we started recording, I don't share it with everyone that I interview, because some of them are little girls and different reasons, which I don't know why I should be sharing it with everybody, but I've shared it this last week. I shared it with 4 women who I think will be there, because I was telling them off recording about it, and how, you can just tell when you talk to somebody whether it's something that they would buy into and really get a lot out of, And so I've been sharing it ever since I came back when I've been doing interviews. So that's what it takes. Just all of us who are involved with it, have been to it, sharing it with the people that we think would benefit from it. And you, shoot, girl, you're going to have to rent the football stadium one of these days.
Wouldn't that be a nice problem? I'm just thinking, Melinda, I should probably create a special code so we can track how many people sign up. We'll take that one offline.
Okay.
But I'll pay you a commission.
Oh, there you go. There you go. No, I do it because I love it. And, and the other thing that's fun for me, Cindy, is that I interview women all year long. And then when I got to the summit, Victoria Thomas, met her in person. She gave me the biggest hug. Julie Geezy's going to be on. Geezy, I never can say her name right. Julie's going to be on. I know Julie fairly well from Phoenix because I went to that track more than any because my daughters live out there. I'd met her several times. Big hug. Jamie Little, I interviewed her years ago. Big hug. Oh, just warms my heart and makes my day. And then there was other ladies that were like Lauren Belk, who works for Legacy Motorsports. Interviewed her not long before the summit. She comes up to me, Melinda, do you recognize me? Oh, I'm 69. That's hard. But those are the things. It's a family.
Oh, yeah. And you're getting all the, the movers and shakers in the industry that are so powerful and such influencers. You did Sally Mott, and it's funny. I just love Sally Mott. I'm a Sally Mott fan. I'm going to make sure she listens to this, but I was there for her first race and to see where that young woman is going and how she's growing and maturing and performing. I'm really, really proud of her, but there's lots of Sally Motts, but
there are.
Yeah, she's one. And, she's really lucky to be with Mazda. Mazda's doing a fantastic job of cultivating, talent. They're the right place to go. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But all of that comes together because we've got a community. And without that community and that sharing, you always say that you're a connector of people, right?
The super connector.
The super connector. And that's what it takes. It takes the connections. And then you connect me to her, and then she connects me to her. And that's how it goes. And so there's no reason why this isn't going to grow to be the largest group of women supporting women in motorsports.
Yeah, it's funny though. I sometimes I get frustrated. So, for example, I almost canceled on you today. I recently met two amazing women with the Miami Grand Prix. We were going to have lunch today, and when I met them, they never even heard of a WMNA or Women with Drive. And so, one of the things we've got to do a better job of is really mining the amazing women that work in the field. A lot of people think we're just about the drivers, and we love them. But there's, the hidden gem are the volunteers, for God's sake. If these events don't have volunteers, they wouldn't run.
No.
And so, we have our whole Shiro Award, and we'll be coming back with that again this year. That's sponsored by both Jostens and Advent Health. We had 23 applications last year. We had 13 the first year. And Vicky Martinez, who won with Path to the Pits. But I think that's a missed opportunity for events or, companies not to find that woman that's been there it doesn't necessarily have to be there forever, but just to recognize her. It's real easy. Yeah. You're spending a little bit of money. She gets a beautiful trophy. You write 250 words or less why she should be your Shiro. There's a woman who is I don't think she's a volunteer, but she's worked at IMS for 25 years, and she's the gatekeeper to podium area. And I think her name is Hilda. And so I'm like, you guys better nominate Hilda this year because she's amazing. She's always got her smile on her face.
Yeah. And it isn't that they don't appreciate those women or want to do that. They don't know. They don't know that there's this opportunity. So, those of us that do know, and there were 600 of us in that room, there should be no reason that we don't each tell 5 people, right? That's easy. I've told more than 5 people already. So we should challenge all of those women and men that were there. Tell 5 people about our summit and share what we're doing and share about the Shiro Award and all the things.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm sad about, but I'm prospecting hard on, is we had the Accelerator Award the last 2 years. That was for any woman in NASCAR that was 18 or older, and that was sponsored by Busch Light. And we departed ways in a very good way. They decided to focus on a different demographic, and I am on a mission to find a new partner for us on that. But what my focus is not just on, it's all women, all series, all ages. And this has been a dream of Lynn St. James, forever, to have this extra pool of money. And I'm asking for 7 figures now. Yeah. I'm going for it. And it might take me a year to do it, but there's so much research coming out now and noise about women in sports. I mean, we're the hottest things since
we are.
So I've got to figure out how to go raise that money. I get emails all the time from, all drivers. Can you help me find a sponsor? I'm pretty well known for selling some pretty big sponsorships in my career, but I have to be really careful because I represent all women in motorsports, not an entity. So that's something that I'm really, really focused on this year's spread the wealth around by finding dollars. And it's, in some cases it won't be a career changer for gals, but $1,000, that goes a long way, or 5,000 or 10,000. And then if you have the grand prize, that could be the difference between somebody having a racing career or not.
Exactly. And, all it takes is finding that one person that cares.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And, my son used to say, all it takes is finding the one person who will listen to what you have and buy into it. And, you're going to find it. They're out there. We just don't know who they are at the moment. I'm working to find sponsors for the podcast. It's not easy. And I'm looking at tiny dollars compared to 7 figures, but it's just, you've got to do the work, which we've done. You've got to do the work, and then you've got to find the people that can help.
Yeah, and it's all about storytelling now too. I mean, if you look at MAV TV has done a fantastic job of growing their female audience. I think CJ said at the summit, CJ Oliveras, who's the president, it's either 53 or 58%. But they like storytelling. A little shameless plug here, but February 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the first of 3 highlight shows of Women with Drive.
Oh, good.
So I just reviewed that first tranche today, and it's really highlighting the panel discussions, because we didn't have cameras for the breakouts, which just kills me because the breakouts are as good as the panel discussions. But
they were.
It all comes down to the almighty dollar, having cameras in each of the rooms. But we are launching today. In fact, it might have already gone out. It just went out at 1:07. You can now go to a link. We sent out a newsletter, and you can see everything from the site right there. Good. So that just went out now.
In an email, it went out.
Yeah, our newsletter.
So when I get that, I'm able to forward that to all these ladies that I just, I got 6,000 email addresses.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of them will be the same, but that's how we share is doing that. I talked to some people at MAV. In fact, I have an interview set up with a gal from there later on, but they interviewed lots of us in the room and said, pick someone that you want to, talk about and so I did Beth Peretta, and because she has always been so friendly, so nice. I've talked to her. She she recognizes me, which I don't expect her to, but she is always happy to stop and talk. And so I thought that day, I had just talked to her earlier in the day, and I thought, okay, that's who I'm going to do. But then they went to her, and then she had to say something about somebody. So it was kind of a tag you're it kind of thing. And they do such a good job about sharing. And I'm excited to see the people that I sat by or something.
Yeah. Beth is it's a blessing to have her as one of her co-founders. She's working hard with Formula E, and I'm, like I keep saying, I'm here on Miami. We'll be doing the Girls on Track program. And if you recall, Melinda, I did a bet with Beth and Cindy Lux in Portland last year, and that's where we met Camilla Barnes.
Yes.
Who we created the coloring book with. And oh my gosh, Camilla is rocking it. She's going to be back out here. And, this girl, her career is being launched just through being present. And then we have a couple other exciting educational programs with Bosch. We have Electrify Your Career in Motorsports. For sure, we'll be at BIR this year and Laguna Seca during the IMSA races. And we'll be doing a call out to college students, roughly 35. They have to get selected because we have so many people applying. We try not to take duplicates, but, we're 3 years into Electrify Your Career in Motorsports right now. And we're seeing these gals get jobs and internships and mentorships, and it's really working.
And when I interview like Lauren Belk, or I just interviewed Dana McCarthy, who is now the account manager for 2 of the truck people for Spire. So I follow Spire closely because Carson Hocevar drives for Spire, and he's from my hometown, Portage.
Oh, okay.
And so I followed Carson since he raced quarter midgets, because he raced against my granddaughters. So I've known him, his parents. They owned the little quarter midget track here in Kalamazoo. And so I've known them a long time. So Carson is near and dear to my heart. And so I just interviewed Dana. And one of the things she said, and she used to do all this for Casey Kane. And now she's moved to Spire. And she said, one of her things was get an internship, work for free, volunteer, get your foot in the door. Those are all the things that you can do to help yourself. And then, educate yourself, learn as much as you can. And it was really good advice for, people who want to get into motorsports as a career.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I can't even stress, the importance of internship. And sometimes you got to do it free, but that's how you get your foot in the door. So that's probably the most important advice, not only internship, but just pure volunteer.
Right. Absolutely. So interesting that I opened up my PRI magazine that came in the mail. And who do I see but Cindy Sisson? So what a great article. And I'm sure if you don't get the PRI magazine, you can Google it or whatever. But what a great story for them to share, because we were right before PRI. And there were a lot of women, Cindy, who had never been to PRI, who went because your event was right before.
Yeah, the statistics were off the chart. I wish I could quote them. I would have to Google them real quick, but I would say on an average, 50% of our attendees went to PRI, and probably 70% were first-time PRI people. And so that story, it's so funny. I do get the PRI magazine, but I haven't seen the physical version, but my phone blew up with people sending me copies, and I kept seeing my big head.
That's great, though.
Oh, Lord. Lord, I hate when that happens.
No. It's a great picture, and the story is outstanding. They did a great job.
Yeah. Well, it's again, those relationships. And back, we were doing one of our photo ops in Long Beach 3 years ago, and Mike Spagnolia, the president of SEMA, was there. And I've known Mike a long, long, long time. He goes, you guys should be doing your event around the PRI show. I'm going to hook a sister up. So he introduced me to Jim Lau, Liaw, And we had been working on it about a year and a half, 2 years. And then Michael Good comes along, the new president, and it's just, they have so many women working for PRI. That whole show has been run by women for 20 years.
I know.
And they were just so blown away that we recognized them, asked them up to the stage. And, you know, there's just such a camaraderie now between all of us working together. So, and then, you know, add in Allison Langton, who's our second year in a row honorary chair, and IMS's engagement and uplifting and support. We couldn't do it without these great partners that we have.
Yeah. So it's interesting that Allison, unfortunately, she wasn't able to be there this year, but I listened to a podcast, and I have for a couple of years or longer, that's based in Maine. And I don't know how I got turned on to it, but I did.
My.
And it's guys that, and they talk NASCAR and their local racing, but it's just interesting. The more you listen and learn, the better off you are, right? So she is on every year before the Indy 500.
Oh,
she's the cousin of the guy that runs the podcast.
No, I did not know that.
Isn't that funny? So I've known who she is for, you know, probably I've listened to that. Probably I should be at least maybe 4 years now that I'm thinking of it. And so to hear her name associated with WMNA and then know who she is from listening to that. We think that motorsports and women in motorsports is huge, and it is, but yet it's small. You know, if you stay connected and involved, you're going to run into people that overlap.
Yeah. Allison, I guess I can say it's public because it's official, but she's just joined our board of directors, and to have her intelligence and her thoughtfulness and her hard work, we're really excited to have her now to be a part of the community. Melissa, you know, the other thing, WMNA Eyes and Women Would Drive, I think you're also aware of the documentaries that I've been blessed to do. Pam Miller, a shout out to, I call her my business partner. She is now the new executive producer of all IndyCar races.
Yeah.
This weekend was kind of interesting for her because she's done the, you know, NASCAR on Fox for 20 years. So she went to go have lunch at the Busch Clash, but she didn't, you know, produce, and she's not going to be producing her first Daytona 500 in 20 years. So to see that transition, but I want to do a shout out to our Left Behind series. You can find those on the GS Events, my own company, YouTube, but Betty Skelton, Boundless, Paula Murphy, Undaunted, and Shirley Muldowney. Now, I know you're not far from Auburn, Indiana. I don't know how far you are, but we're going to do our first Women in Motorsports Women's Film Festival March 15th at Auburn, Indiana, in partnership with the Auburn Cord Museum.
Okay.
And I've got a flyer for that I should send to you to send out.
Yes, please.
But it's going to be $10. And
oh, wow, $10.
And there's a little reception following, but I'm hoping to get as many women from that area, Central Indiana, Detroit, whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's either 190, I think there's 190 seats. So I like that word, sold out.
Yeah, I know you do.
It's my favorite, but I'd love to maybe have you help us share the word. And that's March 15th.
Okay.
Which is a Saturday. So that's another event coming down the pike as well.
Yeah. You've got so many irons in the fire, keeping those dates straight. That's amazing, because it's hard sometimes to figure that out. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how far that is, but I'll find it. It can't be very far. So yeah.
The other thing, Linda, for women in motorsports that I'm smitten with is the new Racing Prodigy League.
Okay.
I don't know if you met the folks. They had the simulators with Williams Formula One.
Yes.
But Racing Prodigy is something all women should be looking at, because if you're using a sim and you're not a pro racer, you can compete on the iRacing programs. There's a number of programs. They had 100,000 people participate last year, and it boiled down to 36 that got the golden ticket and 30 that were drafted. And we only had 2 women. Wow. So I'm advising and working with Racing Prodigy to help get the message out.
Yes.
That if you're a sim racer, you need to be aware of this, because you get to race real race cars, and they pay for everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we might need to get, another time scheduled. Do you ever have men on the podcast? I don't think you do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had a few, especially if they're promoting something that women are going to be interested in. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We need to shout that out to the world, because Racing Prodigy was founded by David Cook, and he used to run Mazda Motorsports, and he really felt theory of not everybody has lots of dollars in their back pocket, and there's a lot of talent that's not being considered
for sure,
because they don't have the money to get on the racetrack. So this is this has the potential to be one of the greatest racing leagues in the world, the most diverse. Because you can even play the game on your phone and compete to participate.
Yeah, and the sad part is, and we know this too, the dollars speak, and so the best, most talented race car drivers are not always the one in the top series, because they don't have the dollars and they don't get the looks unless somebody comes across and says, "I'm going to sponsor you." So this is awesome, and I would love to. We'll talk later. I'm going to hook up with him and see if he'll be on, and then those are the kinds of things that I want to be able to help promote to the people that listen, because a lot of our listeners probably are crossover, but there's also a lot that aren't, and so definitely want to get involved with that and share that. That sounds so fun.
It's excellent. I mean, it is an excellent opportunity for the next generation. And it's funny because the youngest we have is a 14-year-old, and the oldest is 45.
Wow.
We're going to have 2 women. We got to change that. We got to let women know that they can be competitive on a sim that can lead into real racing.
Absolutely. Because Christopher Bell, wasn't it Christopher Bell or William Byron? One of them, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Started on iRacing.
Yeah. It's the same theory.
It's the same. It's the same. So Cindy, we could talk forever, but I know you have things to do. Tell me, what else should we let the women know about that we haven't talked about yet? Because we've covered a lot, but
yeah, our website is a really good resource. Renee Dupuis, who's a former racer and a board member of Women in Motorsports North America, she manages it, and every single day we have all the latest news on the news section.
Yeah. But
a lot of people are looking for jobs, and our resources for jobs, there's nothing on the market. We probably have a 93% click-through rate, people spending 3 minutes or more. That's one area that I also want to make more robust this year is to find racetracks or, teams or whatever to come to us. They have to come to us. I'm not going to go out and search and say, we have this marketing opportunity, and you're going to see us probably push that more on social media.
Good.
Probably in our newsletter, the one I just talked about, we'll have jobs opportunities. We just need to stop bearing it and start advocating for it.
Yeah.
The other thing this year, Melinda, is ACE is our new acronym. Accelerate. No, sorry. We always mess this up. ACE, advocate, connect, and enable.
You know what? You told us all of that at the PRI or at the show, the summit, more than once, and I couldn't have done it either.
Yeah.
Advocate, connect, educate.
And enable.
Enable. Oh, yeah. Enable.
That's the one I always get messed up on. And it's funny. We had our board meeting last week, and we all have challenges. So the first time we did a win the board group shot, and then I made a frame picture for everybody with ACE on it so that they can sit it on their desk and remember what that stands for.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Cindy, I love talking to you. Like I said, we could talk all day about motorsports and women and the ones that, we want to promote and how we're going to do it. But we're going to do this again, not so far apart. So
yes, please.
You were on a podcast, and I'm not sure we even called it a podcast, but I interviewed you probably, this is 2025, probably 6-7 years ago.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? When we first met, we had a little interview, but nothing as good as today. It's just been so good for me to follow what you guys are doing and look up to you, and hopefully in some ways help those women see that we are a community and that we all are wanting the best for women in motorsports. I always say we love the men, but we're connecting and celebrating the women.
That's right.
That's kind of my motto. So, well,
thank
you so much for being on. And if you hold on just a second after we record, then I'd appreciate it. So thank you. That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.